Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
A record number of candidates secured their spots in Barbados' upcoming election. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline from Monday, May 7th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. As many as 125 candidates were expected to hand in nomination papers on Monday ahead of the May 24th general election in Barbados. And that's a record number in the country's history. In 2013, there were 67 candidates competing in the elections. This time around, 7 political parties and 8 independent candidates are throwing their hats into the ring. The 2 major parties, the incumbent Democratic Labour Party, DLP, and the Barbados Labour Party, BLP, were expected to field full slates of 30 candidates each. Well, at its campaign launch on Saturday, the Barbados Labour Party promised to fix transportation woes, problems plaguing the South Coast Sewage Project, and restore free tertiary education if it wins the election. Party leader Mia Motley said her team has the innovation and ingenuity to come up with solutions to simple economic problems that the incumbent administration could not solve. She said she's confident a BLP administration could get the country's economy back on track.
Public servants can rest easy because the first order of business will be to negotiate with their unions as a Barbados Labour Party government. And I tell you that if there is not, and you will see it in the manifesto, if there is not an agreement as to the increase of salaries within 3 months, a cost of living allowance will be paid to every public servant in this country.
Motley also promised that non-contributory pensions would be increased. She also promised to repeal the National Social Responsibility Levy. And she added that her party, if elected, while fixing the economy, will not forget about taking care of the people of Barbados.
And while we get the economy right in terms of the foreign exchange and the debt, believe you me, you have to take care of people. How do old people who do not get a contributory pension, how do they live on $75 a week, $77.50 a week? Well, I have come here tonight to tell you that as of the first week in June, all pensioners in Barbados who are non-contributory will get a pension every 2 weeks of $225. And let me be clear, this is not going to break the government of Barbados. If the government of Barbados and the ministers can take back their 10%, then the pensioners of Barbados can get $225 every 2 weeks.
And as the Frondel Stewart-led DLP opened up its election campaign, it launched an attack on Motley. At a launch in the St. Michael Northeast constituency, which Motley has represented since 1994, DLP speakers not only criticized her plans and labeled them unrealistic, but attacked her personally. Finance Minister Chris Sinclair told DLP supporters that Motley should tell the electorate how the party intends to keep the promises, describing the proposals as madness. Several speakers questioned her competence to be a prime minister, and Prime Minister Stewart accused Motley of behaving as if she was entitled to the position of prime minister because of her family's long history in the legal and political arenas. He argued that she was privileged, and he believed her bloodline gave her a sense of entitlement. And Stewart insisted that the days of people getting through based on their bloodline were long gone.
None in Barbados who can say, because of who my father is, because of who my mother is, because of who my grandparents are, because of who my cousins are, I am entitled not only now, but in the future, to opportunities for higher achievement that have no bounds or have no limits. Not one. But that was said about her. I looked on for the last 16 years to see where the commentators would come from to distance themselves from that kind of thinking, because Barbados has left that behind years ago. That is a set of thought processes that go back to the days of slavery. That doesn't belong to 21st century Barbados. We don't do things nowadays on the basis of bloodlines. The Democratic Labour Party came into existence to end all of that. That is why we say that we wanted to create a just society in Barbados. Not bloodlines, not who your father is or who your mother is, or who your grandparents are, or who your cousins are. No, no, no.
But speaking to reporters on Monday after submitting her nomination papers, Motley said she remains focused on the task ahead.
I shall not be distracted by those who want to have other campaign tactics substitute for an election platform, but remain always focused on the fact that the only reason we are standing up in this center today at this site in St. Matthew's School is because there is an election for persons to be elected to the Parliament of Barbados and by extension to the executive to be able to make a difference in the lives of these people. This country has gone and been hurled from crisis to crisis to crisis. None of us could ever have imagined that every institution, every sector, every group in this country has literally been hurled from crisis to crisis. It is a condition we take no delight in seeing, but it is a condition which we are intent on repairing and resolving, but not stopping there, moving on to transform the country.
In other news, the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago is calling on the police to take action as soon as possible if there's evidence that lawyers are engaged in criminal activity. The call from LAT came on the heels of the Acting Attorney General, Stuart Young, saying in Parliament last Friday that there were lawyers who were facilitating gang members or participating with them in gang activity. LAT says there's no place in the legal profession for anyone engaging in criminal activity of any kind. This is what Young had said in Parliament during discussion on the anti-gang bill.
I say it here without fear of contradiction that it appears as though there are some members, some lawyers, members of the Law Association who have been assisting their clients who are gang leaders and gang members in continuing the conduct of criminal gang activity. And this clause here deals particularly with that. And I call upon our law enforcement officers who are monitoring this to do the necessary and bring them to justice.
But a senior lawyer says Young's statement was a reckless one. Senior counsel Israel Khan was speaking on CNC3's The Morning Brew program when he made the comments on Monday.
He made a statement like it was a statement of fact. I am not surprised of the statement, but it was a reckless statement in that he has cast suspicion over every member of the criminal bar. And it's unfortunate that he did it in Parliament, and he ought not to have done something like that, because every single member of the criminal bar is now under suspicion of conspiring with gang leaders and criminal elements in order to commit crimes. So he has damaged the criminal bar, badly damaged the criminal bar. And I will be writing him a personal letter and saying, as far as I'm concerned, say whether Israel Khan is involved with this. I am speaking for myself.
Khan says even with information to support his comments, the acting Attorney General should not have disclosed the information.
Well, I have no doubt that the minister has certain information, confidential information, but he has let the cat out of the bag, and he ought to have kept his mouth shut and let the police do the work. And if there is evidence that they can arrest lawyers or a particular lawyer, I am of the view they should proceed to do that.
Still in the Twin Island Republic, one of 2 police officers involved in a shootout at a fast food outlet last week has died. A statement tweeted by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service said Sergeant Darrell Honore was pronounced dead at around 10:25 on Sunday night. He was shot last Wednesday during an exchange of gunfire with a fellow officer outside Ruby Tuesday in what is reported to have been an alleged love triangle. The 2 men were captured on video shooting at each other at close range. They were both rushed to the Mount Hope Hospital. The other police officer, who is a corporal but whose name was not released, was treated at the hospital and released. Police say the corporal, along with a female police constable who was with him at the time of the shooting, are assisting with the investigation. Still to come in Caribbean Newsline, a Grenadian political candidate on drug-related charges. We'll be right back.
On May 12th, as the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence is broadcast live from the Pegasus Hotel in Jamaica. Join us from 7:30 p.m. Eastern Caribbean Time as Kai Miller of Jamaica, Noel and Siobhan Joseph of Trinidad and Tobago, Andrew Boyle of Guyana, and Adesh Ramsubag of Trinidad and Tobago receive $500,000 TT, a medal and citation for their work in the arts, sciences, public and civic contributions, and entrepreneurship.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the color of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua.
We continue in Grenada. A candidate for the Minority Progress Party who contested the March 13th general election has been charged with conspiracy to import and traffic a controlled drug. Police said 34-year-old Basil Williams, who ran in the St. George's Northeast constituency, was one of 3 men who appeared in court on Monday. This after 6 pounds of compressed cannabis were found in a barrel assigned for his collection at the Maurice Bishop International Airport last week. The barrel came on a cargo flight from the United States on Friday, and the marijuana was discovered in a bag of cat food during a routine inspection of the barrel at the port of entry. During the campaign for the election, the Progress Party called for the decriminalization of cannabis and gave the assurance that that would be one of its goals if it was elected into office. The other two charged with Williams are Branford Thomas, a 44-year-old bus driver of Bonaire St. Mark, who normally resides in the United States and was scheduled to return on Sunday. The other person was Brian Jabba Charles, a 26-year-old radio disc jockey of Woodlands, St. George. The drug is estimated to have a street value of approximately $250,000 EC dollars. The three were each granted EC $15,000 bail with two sureties, and they had to surrender all travel documents, and they must return to court on May 24th. Meanwhile, a 70-year-old Guyanese national is assisting police with their investigations into the discovery of a quantity of cocaine at the same airport on Saturday. The elderly man was nabbed by police after a search of his motorized wheelchair revealed the drugs hidden under the chair seat. At the time of the discovery, he was waiting to board an Air Canada flight to Toronto. Guyana's opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo has called for those involved in the pirate attacks off the coast of Suriname earlier this month to be treated as terrorists. The attacks have left at least 16 fishermen dead and others are still missing. Addressing fishermen, families of missing fishermen, boat owners and survivors on Sunday, he said the prosecution of the issue should not only be pursued under piracy law, but under terrorism law as well. Jagdeo, who has promised to file a motion on the issue in Parliament on Friday, said the suspects caught in Guyana and believed to be Guyanese, said Guyana and Suriname need to take a united approach to the issue. A Guyana government delegation headed by Public Security Minister Kemraj Ramjatan was scheduled to hold talks with the Surinamese officials on Monday on finding ways of dealing with the attacks, and Jagdeo said that on this issue, the opposition would support and collaborate with the government. Police in the two countries say they have detained more than 10 people in connection with the attacks. Well, it has been confirmed that there were no survivors in the plane crash in Jamaica's northwest last week when rescue teams located the site of the crash in the parish of Trelawney on Saturday. The bodies of the two pilots and one passenger were found. The deceased have been identified as Rojan Campbell, Carolyn Snipe, and Miguel Jones. The single-engine Cessna 206F they were in disappeared last Thursday while on an internal flight between the Sangster International Airport and the Tinson Penn Aerodrome in the capital, Kingston. The plane is owned by prominent businessman Howard Levy. In Haiti, at least 3 people were killed and 1 is missing as heavy rains continue to batter the country. The Permanent Secretariat for Risk Management, together with Haiti's Hydrometeorological Unit and the Directorate of Civil Protection, have continued to urge Haitians to be mindful of the various landslides and floods across the country. This said, official provisional figures show that 3 people, including a 9-year-old girl, were killed and 1 man is reported missing and another wounded. The authorities said that over the weekend, the rains and floods destroyed 2 houses and damaged 2 others in the capital. And in another section of the capital, Port-au-Prince, 2 other houses were destroyed and 2 others damaged. On Sunday, several rivers flooded areas in the Great South, and the DPC has appealed to residents in that area to go to higher grounds. The authorities said in Jacmel, the waters of the Petite Riviere, which crosses the community of Sabel Cabaret, carried away a man and a woman. The body of the woman was later found on Sunday, and the search continues for the man. The authorities said that the floods have also destroyed several roads, and the officials are calling on the population, especially persons in high-risk areas, to avoid long journeys and stay away from rivers. And ahead in Newsline Sport, CARICOM heads throw their support behind plans for a cricket tournament to help hurricane-ravaged islands. Sport is next. Stay with us.
As the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence is broadcast live from the Pegasus Hotel in Jamaica. Join us from 7:30 p.m. Eastern Caribbean Time as Kai Miller of Jamaica, Noel and Siobhan Joseph of Trinidad and Tobago, Andrew Boyle of Guyana, and Adesh Ramsubag of Trinidad and Tobago receive $500,000 TT, a medal and citation for their work in the arts, sciences, public and civic contributions, and entrepreneurship.
Follow your heart to the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival from June 27 to July 1st, 2018, featuring Kester Band, Sifa Mulonji, Small X Band, Nyla Blackman, and Betty Wack. Also, Patti LaBelle, Dijon, New Vibes International, Rhythm of the Beat, and Wayne Wonder. Spice, August Alsina, Aishona, Byron Messiah, Destra, Shaka Dimas, and Pliers, and Miss Lauren Hill. Save the date and book now for the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
Caribbean's greatest summer line. Yeah, it's country around my time. 44 gives me hair. I know you love it here. Troops and festivities. We love the Caribbean. But all night, no time for sleep. Emancipate with me. Back to the folklore. Culture on the 44. Back to the folklore. Welcome to our island shore. Back to the folklore. Entertainment to die for. Back to the folklore. Culture on the 44.
Continuing with sports now, Guyana's President David Granger and CARICOM heads have thrown their support behind a plan by Commonwealth Secretary-General Baroness Patricia Scotland for the region to host a cricket tournament in aid of countries affected by last year's hurricanes. Baroness Scotland shared her idea with Granger during a recent visit with the President. We get more from HGP Nightly News.
The Secretary-General, who is currently in Guyana attending the workshop for judges and prosecutors, which is being hosted by the Commonwealth Secretariat and the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, informed the head of state of a proposal to host a Commonwealth Cricket Cup for 19-year-old males and females from Commonwealth countries. She explained that cricket is a game that is enjoyed in the Commonwealth, and a championship like this will not only open doors for youths, attract people and investment to the Caribbean region, but will also serve as a vehicle for a cultural exchange. Additionally, the Baroness said that the Caribbean leg of the series will raise money for a fund, which will be dedicated to rebuilding of islands affected by hurricanes. Already several CARICOM heads have given their nod of approval for the plan to move forward, and Baroness Scotland said that she had also reached out to cricket legends such as Sir Vivian Richards, Clive Lloyd, and Mr. Keith Bradshaw from Australia. The Baroness said they have all expressed their willingness to lend support to this initiative. President Granger, too, after listening to Baroness Scotland, has signaled Guyana's support for this venture.
Bermuda's national cricket coach Clay Smith wants to keep his job despite the island's relegation to the ICC World Cricket League's Division 5 in Malaysia after winning only one of their 5 matches. Bermuda reached a new low on Sunday when they were relegated after losing to host Malaysia by 89 runs and finishing bottom of the 6-team ICC World Cricket League Division 4 tournament. Smith, a 47-year-old former national team player, said, quote, "It's a sad day for Bermuda cricket, but all is not lost. We just have to regroup and make sure that next time our preparation and planning are a lot better." Oman came from Division 5 to Division 2 in a matter of 2 years. End quote. Alan Douglas as an interim coach. The last time Bermuda played in Malaysia 4 years ago was summarily sacked by the Bermuda Cricket Board executive on his return. Bermuda cricket has been in the doldrums since former West Indies Test star Gus Logie, as national coach, steered the team to the 2007 World Cup in the Caribbean. Switching sports, the Jamaica Football Association begins its campaign for the country's under-23 team to qualify for the 2020 Olympics. TVJ's Jordan Fort tells us more.
Following an $8 million investment by the Jamaica Olympic Association, the nation's Olympic football team began their training and development program earlier this week. Head coach of the team, Donovan Dookie, says the program shouldn't be taken for granted because of its importance to the national senior program.
The program is not just an ordinary program, and I'll tell you why also, because it mirrors the senior team. What we are going to do at the under-23 level will have to be the same thing at the senior team. So in an eventuality, if the coach look at the under-23 program and he wants so 6 or 5 players to make the transition to the senior team, they will understand the system of play, how the operations go at the senior level. So it's also important for that.
Acting Director of Football with the Jamaica Football Federation, Wellnell Downswell, also sees the link between the two programs.
The fact that, as I can recall, during the 1998 campaign, when we just missed out on qualifying for the 1996 Olympic, likes of Nandi Lowe and Fabian Davis, Gregory Messam, and Honors Donald Stewart. They then, after that, formed an integral part of the national senior unit, and of course that is history, that we qualified for the 1998 World Cup itself. We'd like to replicate that, but one step ahead, we'd like to go one step ahead of that by virtue of qualifying for the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, and that is what we're looking forward to.
Alex.
Barbadian jockey Rico Walcott started his quest for an unprecedented 8th Northlands Park title in style when he scored with 3 winners on the season opening card Saturday. The 28-year-old opened his account in race 2 with favourite Chianti, followed up in race 3 with 2-1 choice Clarence, before also snatching race 9 aboard odds-on bet Blue Dancer. And that's sports. We'll be right back.
Follow your heart to the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival from June 27 to July 1st, 2018. Featuring Kester Band, Sifa Lungi, Small X Band, Nyla Blackman, and Betty Wack. Also, Patti LaBelle, Dijon, New Vibes International, Rhythm of the Beat, and Wayne Wonder. Spice, August Alfina, Aishona, Byron Messiah, Dasha, Shaka Dimas, and Flyers, and Miss Lauren Hill. Save the date and book now for the 22nd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the color of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua,
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports around the clock, log on to condanews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.